President will appoint even more judges. And like we learned this past week, we need more conservative justices on the Supreme Court of the United States. And finally, while Joe Biden supports taxpayer funding of abortion and was just endorsed by Planned Parenthood, I couldn't be more proud to be vice president for a president who stands without apology for the right to life. So for American strength, for American jobs, for law and order and liberties and life, we've got to decide right here and right now that we're going to defeat Joe Biden on November 3rd and re-elect President Trump for 4 more years. You know, because it's not just the record of success. It's about leadership. And the leadership this president has shown in one of the most challenging times any of us can remember. Did you know before we had a single coronavirus case in the United States, President Donald Trump closed down all travel from China? He put the health of America first. And with the president's leadership, we stood up a national response. We delivered hundreds of millions of medical supplies to healthcare workers in all 50 states. We reinvented testing from a standing start, and now we're testing almost 500,000 Americans every single day. Working with American Free Enterprise, we manufactured medical equipment on a wartime footing. And no American who required a ventilator was ever denied a ventilator in the United States. That's a national accomplishment. And now, all 50 states are opening up America again. People are going back to work and worship. We're getting back out to stores and restaurants and the great outdoors. The transition to greatness has begun. And despite the fear-mongering of some in the media, the truth is all across this country, hospitalizations are down, our losses are declining, and every day we're one day closer to putting the coronavirus in the past. You're doing it, America. But I want to promise you, we're going to remain vigilant. We'll keep building supplies. We'll keep developing medicines and vaccines. We'll be ready for whatever the future holds, and we will always put the health of America first. That's what leadership looks like. That's the leadership of President Donald Trump. So my fellow Americans, get ready. Buckle up. It's on. We've got a little more than 4 months to win 4 more years for President Donald Trump in the White House. So get ready to bring it, just like you did 4 years ago. Bring the enthusiasm. Keep voicing your support. Keep telling your neighbors and friends all that we've accomplished and what this president can do with 4 more years in the White House. I mean, think about it. 4 more years means more jobs. 4 more years means more judges. 4 more years means more support for our troops. And it's going to take at least 4 more years to drain that swamp. And when we do all that, I believe with all my heart, over the next 4 years, we're going to bring this country together. America will be stronger than ever before, more jobs and opportunities than ever before. And America will be a place where every American, regardless of race or creed or color or income, can work and worship in freedom, choose where their child goes to school, find a good paying job, and live the American dream. So thank you for coming out tonight. I'm going to get on my way and let you hear from him yourself. But I must tell you, it's the greatest honor of my life to be your vice president, and I want to thank you for the privilege. And in all my travels across this country, from big cities to small towns over the last 4 years, I can tell you firsthand, America is a freedom-loving nation, and America is a nation of faith. And as we open up America again and reclaim the freedom that we were willing to set aside for the health of our neighbors, I can't help but think that we come into this year cherishing and appreciating our freedom even more. So every day between now and November 3rd, go out and defend the freedom that's always made this nation great. And while you're doing it, have faith. Faith that in these challenging times, that if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray, he'll do like he's always done through the long and storied history of this land. He'll hear from heaven. He'll heal this land, this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So pray for America, for all the American people. Ladies and gentlemen, President Donald Trump is the real deal. He's a man who says what he means and means what he says. He never quits. He never backs down. And I can tell you firsthand, he's never stopped fighting to keep the promises that he made to the American people. And now it's our turn to fight for him. And I just know that with your continued support and prayers, every day between now and November 3rd, we're going to have that great American comeback. We're going to make Oklahoma and America stronger and more prosperous than ever before. And with President Donald Trump in the White House for 4 more years, and with God's help, we will make America great again. Thank you, Oklahoma. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we begin Oklahoma. We begin. Thank you, Oklahoma. And thank you to Vice President Mike Pence. We begin our campaign. We begin our campaign, and I just want to thank all of you. You are warriors. I've been watching the fake news for weeks now, and everything is negative. Don't go, don't come, don't do anything. Today it was like, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. You are warriors. Thank you. We had some very bad people outside. We had some very bad people outside. They were doing bad things. But I really do. I appreciate it. We have just a tremendous group of people in Oklahoma. And I hear from your two great senators and your governor that we're doing very well in Oklahoma. That's the word. That's the word. I stand before you today to declare the silent majority is stronger than ever before. 5 months from now, we're going to defeat sleepy Joe Biden. Boy, does he get a pass from these people, huh? We're going to stop the radical left. We're going to build a future of safety and opportunity for Americans of every race, color, religion, and creed. Republicans are the party of liberty, equality, and justice for all. We are the party of Abraham Lincoln, and we are the party of law and order. Think of what we've done. We will have close to 300 federal judges appointed and approved by the end of my first time. That's an all-time record. That's an all-time record. I've always heard how important judges are. Now we know how important they are. Think of that, over 300, around 300 by the end of the term. And when we have another 4 years, we're going to have a big, big percentage of the total number. Very important. November 3rd. And 2 great Supreme Court judges. So we have 2 justices of the Supreme Court. Justice Gorsuch, Justice Kavanaugh, they're great. They're great. They're great. We have 2. And we could get a few more. Yeah, we could get a few more. We've spent over $2 trillion to completely rebuild the unmatched strength and power of the United States military. And all of that incredible equipment, whether it's submarines or missiles or rockets or jet fighters, bombers, it's all built in the USA. We passed VA choice. Thank you very much, Jim. Where's my senator? Jim Inhofe. You better vote for him. He's running. He's great. But we'll get to him and James Lankford in a second. 2 great senators. You have 2 great senators. So we passed VA choice. So if you're a veteran, for years and years, they've wanted to do it for almost 50 years. We got it done. We get a lot of things done. And so if you're a veteran and you have to wait online for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 7 weeks, 2 months, what happens is you go outside, you get a private doctor, you get fixed up, and they pay your bill. We take care of the bill. We take care of the bill, and you get immediate service. It's never happened before, and our approval rating at the VA is now 91%. That's how good it is. Never been anywhere near that number. Never been anywhere near that number. And VA accountability. We had a lot of bad people in the VA, people that didn't love our vets, people that were sadistic, people that stole, a lot of bad people. You couldn't get rid of them because they were, let's say it could be unions, it could be civil service, right? Let's just say. And so you couldn't get it done. That was another one. For decades and decades, they wanted to get it changed. And I got it done with those people and your congressman, too. Your congressman, who I'm going to introduce. VA accountability, and now somebody treats our veterans badly. And we look at them, and what do we say? We say, you're fired, get out, right? Get out. They got rid of a lot of bad people that were there for a long time, sort of like me in Washington, draining the swamp. I never knew it was so deep, but it's happening. It's happening. I never knew it was so deep. It's deep and thick and a lot of bad characters. Thank you. We're lowering the price of prescription drugs, making our allies pay their fair share. They get a big bargain on drug prices, and enacting fair trade deals that finally, after all these years, put America first. I've been saying it for a long time. We passed the largest tax cuts in the history of our country. The Democrats want to raise your taxes. Tell me about that. Tell me about that. I guess I'm old-fashioned. You know, all my life, I heard politicians want to lower taxes, not raise them. If you could lower them, you couldn't lose. The Democrats want to substantially raise your taxes. How do you figure that? How do you figure that? And regulation cuts, we passed more regulation cuts than any administration in the history of our country. And with the help of our great energy workers, many of them come from the great state of Oklahoma. Do you ever notice that Biden oftentimes gets the state wrong? He's in Iowa, and he says, it's good to be in Idaho. No, you're in Iowa. He's in New Hampshire, and he says, it's great to be in Ohio. No, you're in New Hampshire. That happens to him all the time. Hasn't happened to me yet. You know, when that happens, there's nothing you can do to make up for it. You might as well just walk off the stage because the speech is a disaster. Right? But we just turned the United States into the dominant energy superpower of the world. And because of the Chinese virus, what happened about 3 months ago, it looked like we were in big trouble, and we were, and I got it back together. I called Russia. I called Russia. I called Saudi Arabia. And believe it or not, I called Mexico. Mexico was a little bit tough. That's called OPEC Plus. Did you ever hear of OPEC Plus? That's OPEC plus plus. And we got them to do the right thing, and we have our energy back to up almost $40 a barrel, meaning you have an energy business again. Almost $40 a barrel. A couple of months ago, it was zero, and we were going to lose 10 million energy jobs, 10 million jobs. So Texas and Oklahoma and North Dakota and many other states would have been hurt. Now, you think you're going to be hurt there? You try putting AOC in charge of your energy. That will make the pandemic look like child's play to the people in energy. She has one problem, it's called petroleum. No president or administration has done more in the first 3.5 years than the Trump administration. Not even close. Nobody. Our incredible success in rebuilding America stands in stark contrast to the extremism and destruction and violence of the radical left. We just saw it outside. You just saw it outside. You saw these thugs that came along. These people call them protesters. Isn't it beautiful? It's so beautiful. No, they're so wonderful. They call them the Boston Tea Party. That's so wonderful. Yeah, they call them. You ever watch fake news CNN? You ever watch where they go? How about the CNN anchor? You know, did a little shave job in the head, which is fine. And he's standing in front of a building saying things are very peaceful here. And the building is, it looks like the biggest fire I've ever seen. The whole town is burning. It's like the biggest fire. And he said, things are very good here, Anderson. I think it's good. These are wonderful people, Anderson. You ever see that? Looked like the world was coming to an end. And you know, we did something in Minneapolis. After watching for 3 or 4 days, I called. I said, you got to get out. You can't protect yourselves. I got them to take 8,000 National Guardsmen. And in 1 hour, it all ended. And they rode through the next 3 weeks with no problem. And we did the same thing in other cities. But how about Seattle? Isn't that great? So they take over a big chunk of a city called Seattle. I mean, we're not talking about some little place. We're talking about Seattle. Have you ever been to Seattle? They took over a big chunk, and the governor, who's radical left, all of these places I talk about are Democrat. You know that. Every one of them. Every one of them. And I have an offer out. I said, anytime you want, we'll come in, we'll straighten it out. in 1 hour or less. Now, I may be wrong, but it's probably better for us to just watch that disaster. I flew in with some of our great congressmen who we're going to introduce in a second, and I said to him, Congressman, what do you think? I can straighten it out fast. Should we just go in? No, sir. Let it simmer for a little while. Let people see what radical left Democrats will do to our country. Right? But Americans have watched left-wing radicals burn down buildings, loot businesses, destroy private property, injure hundreds of dedicated police officers. These police officers, they get injured. They don't complain. They're incredible. And injure thousands upon thousands of people only to hear the radical fake news say what a beautiful rally it was. And they never talk about COVID. They don't talk about when you see 25,000 people walking down Fifth Avenue or walking down a street of a Democrat-run city. You never hear them saying, they're not wearing their mask. You don't hear them saying, as they're breaking windows and running in. And then when I say the looters, the anarchists, the agitators, they say, what a terrible thing for our president to say. What a terrible thing. But you don't hear them talking about COVID. COVID. To be specific, COVID-19. That name gets further and further away from China as opposed to calling it the Chinese virus. And despite the fact that I have done a phenomenal job with it, I shut down the United States to very heavily infected, but all people from China in late January, which is months earlier than other people would have done it, if they would have done it at all. I saved hundreds of thousands of lives. We don't ever get even a mention. Then I closed it down to Europe early. Closed it down because I saw what was happening. And by the way, most people said, don't do it. Don't do it. We saved hundreds of thousands of lives. And all we do is get hit on like we're terrible. And what we've done with the ventilators and with the medical equipment and with testing, testing is a double-edged sword. We've tested now 25 million people. It's probably 20 million people more than anybody else. Germany's done a lot. South Korea's done a lot. They call me, they say, the job you're doing, here's the bad part. When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please. They test and they test. We got tests that people don't know what's going on. We got tests. We got another one over here. The young man's 10 years old. He's got the sniffles. He'll recover in about 15 minutes. That's a case. Add up to it. That's a case. That's a case. I was actually with a very nice man, very good man, even though he's very liberal, the governor